Good afternoon, everyone. 4 o'clock straight up on the East Coast. It is indeed a Friday edition of Middays with Q. As always, I'm your host, Rich Quiñones. 2 hours to play with. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up on this 11th of July, 2025, as we like to deem a What the Frig Friday. So, what made you out there say, What the Frig in the world of sports? As I mentioned, 2 hours to play with. Busy show. I am flying solo today, so it's going to be you guys out there giving me a hand for the next 2 hours. You can always tweet at me at RichQ on Q. We are on TriX57 among other entities, including X and my YouTube channel at RichQ on Q. Facebook, the like, and hope everyone had a good sports Thursday. A busy day for myself yesterday on the road traveling, but glad to be back in the saddle on this Friday edition. As always, as I mentioned, get social with us. It's very easy to do at RichQ on Q, at TriX57.com, and on their Facebook channel as well, and their Facebook page. So here we are. Another week of sports in the books, live and local, of course, with that national feel. You've got a lot of baseball to dive into, and that is exactly what we are going to do today. We are going to mix in a little NBA. Also, think about this with the NFL and training camp right around the corner, respectively, which when we get into the NFL, I've got a couple of tidbits I want to throw out there to you guys regarding the NFL and just sports as a whole. Sports as a whole. So we'll have a little fun. And by the way, you also have a monster card this evening, tonight, that is going to be on Netflix live. And I will be locked and loaded watching that later on this evening. Tomorrow, the benefit of calling the fights. Tomorrow night, the fights will be in Sioux City, so I'll be calling them for BXNG TV. But tonight, you kidding me? I mean, if you are not a fan of the fight game, do me a favor and tune in tonight on Netflix, because MVP Promotions, as you guys say, I'm cashing the check from Jake Paul. It is a all-female attraction card. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, 10 rounds. Taylor's undisputed junior welterweight championship. Alicia Baumgartner versus Jennifer Miranda, 10 rounds. For Baumgartner's undisputed junior lightweight championship, Savannah Marshall, Sharicia Green, Ellie Scottnoy, Yamini Mercado. There's a belt there. Johnson and Metcalf, there's a belt there. I mean, it's ladies' night, man. It's ladies' night. It is a ridiculously stacked card. So again, if you get an opportunity, if you are a fight fan or you have not ever watched a fight, if you've never seen a Serrano or a Taylor or a, Savannah Marshall or Alicia Baumgartner, who I had the pleasure of calling a couple fights with in Philadelphia, they're as talented as they come. Absolutely as talented as they come. So you've got the fight game going on tonight. You've got a lot of the summer league right now in effect in the NBA. And as I mentioned with baseball, which the trade deadline is right around the corner. And you're starting to see right now exactly what's transpiring in baseball. As we are 90-something odd games into the books right now. By the way, Guardians and the White Sox tied up at 2-2. But you're looking at a team like the Mets, and they've been dealt with some injuries, and they're trying to, just sustain themselves right now. They've dropped 2 straight in that series against Baltimore. That first game was postponed. They lost the series in 3, if you will, 2 out of 3. But they're a game and a half back of the Philadelphia Phillies. And then you look at the Philadelphia Phillies that are such an enigma. Now, the Phillies, my guy, Jesus Luzardo, how about this? I call out Harper. He delivers. I call out Luzardo. He delivers. And the Phillies win at 13-0 over the Giants. And it's shocking to think right now that a Hall of Fame pitcher in Justin Verlander is winless. I mean, think about that for a moment. Now, this is the same pitcher, if you recall, years ago, lost 17 games, but he was very young into his career. And as it stands right now, 0-7. I mean, he's winless. How do you even comprehend that? How do you even comprehend that if you're Verlander and you're a Hall of Fame pitcher? I mean, that's, to me, I have no explanation whatsoever why or how he has struggled like this. But the bottom line is he's not getting any younger. He's at the twilight of his career. You thought that move was going to help out and at least try to solidify that starting rotation for the Giants. And he has just been absolutely god awful. He has not been a very good pitcher, and the Phillies offense was able to just take advantage of that. Now the Phillies are on the road. They're out west. They're continuing out west. They got a 4-game set against the San Diego Padres, a very good team that is very capable of putting up runs. We've seen that. So tonight, you got your workhorse on the mound, Wheeler. Steve Gardner and I spoke about Wheeler earlier in the week. He's right now 8-3. He's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. He's arguably the best pitcher in the NL. He is definitely right there when we talk about Cy Young candidates. They will go with Wheeler. And remember, too, think about this. If you're a Phils fan, actually, no, check that. They're going to go with Suarez tonight. Pardon me, check that. They're going to go with Suarez tonight, Wheeler Saturday against Darvish, which makes sense. So it'll be Suarez, it'll be Ranger tonight, Wheeler Saturday, and then Sanchez on Sunday. So you're throwing out your guys, right? Your workhorses. That's exactly what they're looking to do. They're throwing out the workhorses, and they're trying to get those innings eaten ASAP. That's going to be a very interesting series for the Philadelphia Phillies because you look at this team right now, and you're still trying to figure out the NL East. We're still trying to figure out the NL East. The Marlins are done. The Braves have just gone through the wayside. I know, by the way, John Bueller, who typically joins me on Friday from Fansided, taking a little vacay. He's going to join me back in the saddle next Friday. Obviously, because we weren't on there yesterday, we weren't, again, able to push back Lloyd to today because of scheduling conflicts. But that being said, Lloyd will join me on Tuesday, and then we'll start to get in with Costco every Wednesday and Friday on college football and also on high school football on Fridays. But, to my point, to the NL East, Mets are a game back. The Marlins are done. The Braves are done. And we already saw what Washington did. They fired Martinez. They fired Rizzo. They are in I guess you can say, a big-time overhaul, a big-time rebuild, overhaul, restart, recalibrate, whatever you want to call it. They've been a very bad baseball team, and it's shown. Then you look at the NL Central, and the Cubs are 2 games up on the Brewers. The Cardinals are 5.5 back of the Cubbies. The Reds are trying to, again, just stay afloat, 7.5 back, and the Reds have shown you they're not a very good team on the road. Pittsburgh's done. We know Colorado is suffering one of the worst seasons in franchise history, let alone MLB history. They won 21 games. Arizona's 10 back. The Padres, this is a huge series for the Padres right now. If they can win a couple games against the Phillies, hopefully maybe the Dodgers continue to slip because the Dodgers right now are showing you that they're human. About a week ago, we were waxing poetic about this team well on their way to 100 wins, and they've dropped 6 straight. And what's alarming is their offense has done nothing. And what is even more alarming, the starting pitching has been brutal for the Dodgers. They gave up 18 runs to the Astros in the first game, 6 runs in 5 games, respectively, 29 for the series. Then they follow that up. They follow that up with this offense by giving up 15 runs to the Brewers in a 3-game sweep. So not only did they get swept by the Astros, but they got swept by the Brewers. They've got some issues right now. They've got a boatload of issues right now due to Los Angeles Dodgers. And we'll see if teams in that NL West try to take advantage of it. So we've got some baseball on the table. I want to get into a little NBA Summer League. If you saw Cooper Flag, the LeBron James drama just won't go away. LeBron James, is he going to, does he want to stay with the Lakers? Does he not want to stay with the Lakers. And then, as I mentioned, we want to get into a little NFL, and that's always in our wheelhouse. We'll open up the comments on the other side. And by the way, I'm going to throw out the question of the day coming back. So you guys are just keeping us locked in. 10 past 4 o'clock hour, Middays with Q. Rich Quiñones here. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock straight up. You can always get social with me at TryX57 on Facebook, IG, and X. You can log on to TryX57.com. You can follow myself on IG and X at Rich Q on Q, and TikTok Rich Q on the mic. So pretty much an open Friday on this hot, humid July 11th, 2025. Baseball right now, trade deadline, buyers, sellers, we'll get into it. NFL, I want to get into the NFL. I've got a couple, I guess you can say, tidbits, questions I want to throw out, and I want to pose to you guys as well on the other side. So we're just cranking it up on a Friday edition of Middays with Q. Keep it locked in right here to TryX57, TryX57.com. When we come back on the other side, we'll open up your comments. We'll see what you guys have to say on this Friday. You can always hashtag MWQ. You can tweet at me, Rich Q on Q. You can get me on Facebook as well, and you can check out the YouTube channel at Rich Quiñones. Quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side.
The blast of the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it cool out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the car. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Do more than dip in the car. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with booze and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pascoe. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
All right, 15 past 4 o'clock hour. I'm already being bombarded and annoyed on a Friday edition of Middays with Q. Rich Quiñones here. We'll take you up to 6 o'clock. So I mentioned the fights tonight. I'm all in. I'm all in. I think it's a remarkable night. And I know you guys hammered me before when we were talking about, the female fight game. We were talking about Jake Paul, MVP promotions. And you don't have to be a boxing fan to appreciate what's going on. You don't have to be a fight fan, to be quite honest, to just respect and see what's on the line tonight. It's a remarkable card. It really is. And I like to say, if you're not familiar with some of these fighters, you are talking about icons in the sport. You are. Amanda Serrano, you go back to my YouTube channel, I interviewed her like 8 years ago. Trying to give the flowers and exposure to the female fight game, female boxing. I mean, Serrano, Taylor, they're icons. Like, it's going to be a fan-friendly fight. Period. It's going to be a fan-friendly fight. You have arguably one of the greatest all-time female fighters, arguably one of the greatest all-time Puerto Rican fighters in Amanda Serrano. Like, the resume, the body of work, it speaks to itself. It really does. And these two clashed, if you recall, back on the undercard of Tyson and Paul last November in Texas. And it is a heated rivalry. It really is. Now you've got the trilogy, and we love trilogies. You love the initial matchup, then you get the rematch, and then if you're lucky, you get the trilogy. And for my money, I think that is what it's all about. I think if you don't watch tonight, if you have Netflix and you don't watch, you are missing out. I really do. You are missing out if you don't take this in on what can be, or on what will be, a historic night in boxing. It will. Whether you are a fan of the female fight game or not, it's going to be a historic night in boxing. And you have to give the credit where credit is due. And again, I get it. Some people do not want to do it. Some people refuse to do it. They just, they don't, it's hard for them to wrap their self or their head around certain things. It really is. And some of these female affairs, some of these female fights have been much more exciting and competitive and just more passion and energy and juice that I've seen from the male-dominated sport, from some of these other, potential championship affairs. I mean, you look today and what's going on, right? Shocker when you turn around, oh my goodness, another boxer got arrested. I mean, is it shocking that Tank Davis got arrested in Miami on battery charge? Kid's a clown. He's another clown. He's not good for the, the sport of boxing. Hola, Arena. Man, chiming in. And what do we got here? 20 minutes in, and Man says, welcome back to work, Sir Banker. I mean, I go on the road yesterday. I'm doing God's like work. I'm trying to make things happen, and we get this. So tonight, if you have an opportunity, watch it. I think it's going to be, one for the ages. The card itself is just stacked. It really is. You got fighters with contrasting styles. If you kind of understand where I'm going with this, you got trailblazers, you got a rivalry. You've got, and that's just, there's so much more than just that, if that makes sense. There's so much more than just that fight. Alicia Baumgartner, she can fight. She can fight. Taylor and Serrano is not an ordinary trilogy. It's not. You go back, anytime you watch a trilogy, right? You play a team twice in the season. You have to play them in the playoffs. That's the third time. It's hard to knock them off 3 times, is it not? But like tonight, this is a different animal because Taylor has beaten Serrano twice. And now you enter this third fight, yet she's an underdog. Now, at times, from a betting standpoint, that's pretty hard to fathom. But again, you kind of make sense of it. Taylor's best assets, she's got fleet of foot, sharp hands. And, a lot of times people say, well, you kind of get a lot of mileage, a little wear and tear. So what happens is you lose those attributes, right? And then you got Serrano, who's like shot out of a cannon. I remember early in her career, I caught a couple of fights. They didn't even last like 30-something odd seconds. And so, listen, Serrano's 36, young as a person, But in the fight game, not a spink chicken. And her style is not really relying on youth and reflexes, so to speak, right? I mean, her punches, they carry weight, man. They carry, she's got the wear and tear. She's going to work you down. She's going to, again, she's got that style. She's going to come forward. She's going to let her hands go. You've got two very good fighters. I think it's razor close with the odds. I'll give you my predictions later on. And then I mentioned Bumgarner versus Miranda. Miranda's plus 1,000 to win this one. That's a co-feature. And Bumgarner, she fights with a chip on her shoulder. A big time. She's strong. She's athletic, right? She's strong and she's athletic. And because of that, and the reach, she's going to steer clear of the counter striker and the counter puncher in Miranda. And I think we might get a stoppage here. And now you look at Bumgarner, she's under Derek James. So she just comes in ridiculous shape. And then we talked about Green. We talked about Marshall. I mean, listen, you've got stacked card, and I want to get to some comments. Matt Sarge, Tommy D, I'll get to you guys in a second. Tonight is good for the sport of boxing. It is. It is good for the sport because I think you're trying to continue to get the eyeballs. And I know what we talked about last week when we were talking about the Jake Paul fiasco and all this other stuff. And you guys were getting on me saying the payroll this, the payroll that, bounce a check here, bounce a check there. Hey, man, I know we are having fun with it, but if there's a way to bring interest to a sport, whether it's through promotions, whether it's through the gimmick, whether it's through entertainment, most of the time we're going to get sucked in and you guys are going to watch. And I think that's exactly what's happening in this case. And I expect the numbers to be ridiculous tonight. And I think there's going to be a substantial amount of eyeballs. Matty Ice in Delaware chimes in. Q, you mentioned that Bumgarner fight. If you kind of rank her in the pantheon, where would she be? I mean, again, it's subjective. I think she's a very good fighter, obviously. I mean, you're talking about an undefeated super featherweight. I mean, she's that good. She can move. She's quick. She's got pop. She's on the brink. I would say she's a star, but she's on that brink. If she has one of these performances where she does get that stoppage or where she dominates, now you're starting to talk about stardom. And the other thing, I think you have to have this trait as a fighter. And one of the traits you look for is nerves of stone, of steel. And she has a substantial amount of confidence. She really does. I mean, you need confidence in this game. You do. You need confidence in this game. And she brings that. And she's got the swagger and she looks the part, and she's got that edge to her. And she's got some pop and she's got some power, man. She's got some power. For 5'6", she's got some power. And she fills out. And that's the thing. And I do want to clarify, she had that one loss. She had the no contest against Delphine Pearson. That was last September. But prior to that, she did lose back in 2018. But she was still trying to feel her way. But she's on the cusp. Like when we say stardom, because tonight you got 3 belts on the line. You got the IBF, you got the WBC, and you got the WBO. I mean, the card is just, and the interesting thing that kind of goes unnoticed is Ellie Squirtnoy, who's from the UK, had a very small following on social. She's very charming, had a very small following on social. And then she just kind of went about her business. And then she wins the IBF and WO title. And then all of a sudden, boom, she blows up. She's 10-0. So she'll take on Yamileth Mikado tonight. And remember, too, the other thing is, these championship fights, 10 2-minute rounds, they're trying to sanction and get 3-minute rounds because the female fighters want to get paid like the men. They really do. And I know Jake Paul's going to throw bonuses out there, probably like $250,000, $500,000 bonuses here and there. And good for him. He's got the money. He's going to be able to do it, right? He has the money. He's going to be able to do it. I feel like this is a pseudo name. Let's see what this is all about. Graham, I am. I believe that's a pseudo name. Sarge, chimes in. Q, I know you're going to get into the NFL in the 5 o'clock hour, but have you started to look to any of the futures of week 1? I have, and we will definitely get into the NFL in the 5 o'clock hour. I have. Franchise chimes in. Q, what do you think is going to be the landing spot for LeBron? Your guess is as good as mine. I think it's right now. There's so much drama with LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James is worth like $1.2 million. I mean, this guy, money-wise, he's set for 1,000 generations. And if LeBron really believes he's got something left in the tank, then what would you say is the best route for LeBron James? I mean, think about this. Because the Lakers decided, we're going to wait, we're going to see what happens, And that's the problem. Because you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, I need to sit and say, what are we going to do in free agency? Right? What are we going to do? Are we going to figure out a way to build around him? The Lakers went into the offseason and they had the hole at the center position. So you trade for Luka, but it comes at a cost of losing Anthony Davis, which now you make their front court even thinner. So now you got a lack of a big man. And you factor that in the fact that Minnesota was able to sweep them in the first round. Okay, so now let's go the free agent route. Let's target that makes sense, okay? Brook Lopez. Because Brook Lopez has shown that he's a pro's pro, he's a solid, he's a gentleman, he's a rim protector, he's a floor stretcher. He can give you good minutes. He didn't return to the Lakers. He signed with the Clippers, and he's an LA native. So he's going to back up an ex-Laker big man in Zubac. So now you lost out on that. So you're waiting around. And the problem that the Lakers are dealing with, and this is what happens in franchises, and it will lead me into the NFL conversation. Trust me. I'm passing the torch. I'm passing the torch, period. I'm passing the torch from one franchise player to the next. And that's always hard to do. There's a reluctanceness. There is you're timid, you're tentative, you're nervous. There's apprehension. I don't know if I can do this. And in basketball, it's hard to do because you're talking about 5 players, one singular player that's the face of the franchise, the dominant player on the floor. And now you're hoping when you pass that torch to the next guy in line, that they run with it. They run with it. And they continue where that all-time great, and in this case, LeBron, left off. And I'm not suggesting that Luka can't be that guy, but that's the rub for the Los Angeles Lakers right now. If that answers your question, that's the rub. They had an opportunity to appease LeBron. They had an opportunity to go out and build one more time. Let's run it back. Here we go. And now you got LeBron, who's maybe thinking, maybe looking, maybe he's peeking out the back door, looking for a better deal, looking for a better opportunity. Obviously, when we talk about offers, but where am I going to go? What's going to happen with his son, Bronny? And I did watch last night him in a Flag in Summer League. I definitely watched that last night. And I thought Cooper Flag, limited time here and there, thought he played well. And I think ultimately, I don't know. Are the Warriors going to pursue LeBron James? Is James going to stay with the Lakers? I don't want LeBron James if I'm a Knicks fan. I don't. I just don't. And there's reports coming out right now. And this is why you can draw scrutiny, because he picked up the final year of a $53 million player option, right? And I think, again, it's his contract, that move with the contract, you look at what the Lakers have done, right? The ground shaking Luka Doncic trade. That kind of makes me feel, okay, what do you want out of LA? Do you want out of LA? Because there's going to be a handful of teams that are going to try to trade for James and they're gonna make an offer. And I just, James to Golden State, that's not new news. We know that. James to potentially the Knicks, that's not new news. We know that. I don't know how it's going to play out. I really don't, but I believe there's just uncertainty, and that's never a good thing. When you have a player that's uncertain about their future, they're not all in. We see it in the NFL. We see it in the NFL all the time. Kerr has breached a chat. I mean, I think that's an understatement on a What the Frig Friday. I mean, if we're talking about a What the Frig Friday edition of Middays with Q, then that's it right there. We're still trying to let's pull it up one more time. I mean, that's a hell of a handle. Cram I am. Is that like Sam I am? Green eggs and ham? 30 past 4 o'clock hour. Let me get to more of these comments. Angel and Camden chimes in. Q, who do you like tonight in the Serrano fight? I can wait until we're closing out the show, but I think Serrano is going to have another gear late in this fight. I really do. She wants to continue to, when you're deemed the best or the greatest of all time, you want someone to kind of rip it out of your hands, do you not? Right? You kind of want someone to sit there and say, I'm not going to allow this anymore. I'm going to take it away from you. I mean, is this her last gasp? I don't know, but I'm not going to count her out. I just think she still has the power, right? And I just don't know if a 39-year-old, and that's Taylor, because Serrano is going to keep coming forward and press and press and press and just be up in her grill. Be up in her grill. At 39, you get through a couple rounds, and now you got a full 10. Do I want to go the full 10? Like, eventually the body shots are going to kind of add up. And remember, too, Serrano's coming in, never beating Taylor. So she knows I have an opportunity to put Taylor into retirement. I can knock her on her fanny. I can send her on her way. And in essence, then I'll basically stamp myself as arguably the greatest female fighter ever. I mean, she's top 3 or 4 when you talk about the all-time great Puerto Rican fighters. So now I've got an opportunity to take, a former champ, an all-time great, take her 10, beat her up, break her will, take her spirit, send her in retirement. And oh, by the way, beat her for the first time in the third and final try. To me, that's motivation enough. And at 36, as opposed to 39, the chip is on Serrano's shoulder. It's even bigger. I mean, you might see midway through late in this fight where Taylor's just trying to survive. And I think again, the brilliance and the toughness of Katie Taylor is that she digs deep and she finds a way. And that has to be commended. As a fight fan, as a guy that calls the fights for a living, I love that. Dig deep. Dig deep and find a way to win. That's what it's all about. But man, I'm telling you, and we've already had razor thin, razor close fights. And I think this one is going to be the same. I think we're going to start to look at the 8th, 9th, 10th, late in the round, the last flurry, 30 seconds. Who's first? Who's countering? Who's connecting? We know it's so subjective. What are we looking at here? Quality, quantity. I like Serrano tonight. I really do. I like Serrano tonight. 34 past 4 o'clock hour. Cranking up on a Friday edition of Middays with Hugh. As always, don't forget to get social with us. Very easy to do. Trax57 on Facebook, IG, and X. Log on to Trax57.com. You can follow me on IG and X at RichQ on Q. A lot of fight fans chiming in. I'd love to see it on a Friday. Quick timeout. Come back on the other side. We'll continue to talk a little fights. We'll mix in a little baseball. Heavy NFL, 5 o'clock hour. Got some questions I want to throw out on this Friday edition of Middays with Q. Keep it locked in. We'll take you up to 6.
The blast got the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it cool out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in the flow. Let the rhythm take control.
what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with brews and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pascoe. I'm very fortunate. Years ago, I found something that I genuinely like to do, and it's something that helps other people. What I do is help people transition from traditional health insurance into Medicare. I've been doing it here in Atlantic County for more than 20 years. If you're getting ready for Medicare, call me for a free consultation. 609-484-9800.
All right, 4:37 on a Friday. Do not forget, check me out on my YouTube channel at Rich Quiñones. We've got some new shows coming up. Back Your Play. We will also be firing that off very soon, taking a look at the 2025 NFL season futures, player props, MVP, rookies of the year, defensive player of the years. Also, too, check out my good friends at the WABA Louisiana Spice. Give their channel at Louisiana Spice a follow. I'll be calling their games this year for the WABA among several teams. They'll be in action tomorrow against Mississippi, looking to even up their season record at 1-1 after dropping a tough game to the Queens to open up the season. So it's a really solid league. I mean, we always talk WNBA. You've got the ABA to WABA, kind of like your feeder system leagues, if you will, but they do a really nice job. And they're good people out there and a good team, good players, good bunch of girls. So definitely give them a follow. All right, let me squeeze in a couple more. Kevin C. Jackson chiming in. Q, I haven't watched the fights in a long time. I'm going to take your word for it. I might have to check it out tonight. I didn't think female boxing was that big. Am I missing something? Yes, you are. You are. I mean, think about from this standpoint, everyone looks at, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they sit there and say, that's the Mecca when we talk about boxing, right? And Atlantic City. Because everyone, for some reason, always wants to, for whatever reason it is, when there's fights in Atlantic City, and I think some of these, and pardon me, I think, some of these, I don't know, maybe they heard what I had to say on that one. I don't know. When you talk about what's going on in the fight game in Atlantic City, listen, it's never going to be where it was. It's just not. It's just not. And I think a lot of the local, the products, so to speak, we've got to acknowledge that. It's not going to be how it was in the 70s and the 80s, where there were money fights left and right. It's just not. It's saturated with the casinos. You know that, and I know that. Now you've got an influx of MMA, so you got PFL. You've got other stuff going on as well. So you just, like I said, it's not going to be like it was. So when people think that AC is going to become 70s and 80s and 90s, where every weekend you had a great fight, whether it was the convention center, the Sands, resorts, Trump. No way. No way. But, if you haven't, if you're not a fan of the fight game, it's okay. It's okay. Because in the 80s, you had rivalries, whether, you had Benitez and Duran and Hagler and Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard. You had rivalries. You had guys that, gladiators that kept circling around, circling around, circling around. You even started in the early 80s. You had it constantly. You had great fights, the Wild World of Sports, Saturday Night USA, again, I'm not even talking about, broadcast network, HBO and stuff like that, Showtime, all that kind of stuff. But you also had mecca fights in our backyard, in my backyard in Atlantic City. You had heavyweight affairs. You had great fights. Now you get the local promoters, they're putting on local cards and they're it's grassroots boxing. That's exactly what it is. It's grassroots boxing. And that is basically, let me get a couple of young guys, young kids, we're turning them pro, and let me showcase them where? On local cards. And that's all you really, ultimately, that's what it's about. It's showcasing fighters that had very good, pedigree as amateurs, and now they're turning pro, and you want to showcase them in their backyard. And yes, there was a time when Atlantic City dominated the boxing scene. I mean, Tyson took 91 seconds to get rid of Michael Spinks back in 1988, and that was at Boardwalk Hall. And Donald Trump, the POTUS, the current president of the United States, Trump, sponsored that fight. He paid $11 million to bring the fight to Boardwalk, outbidding Las Vegas and other cities. That's great. That's great. Tyson was knocking out guys, Holmes and Williams and Stewart, respectively. 20,000 showed up to see George Foreman fight Jerry Cooney, Vander Holyfield in Atlantic City. But we're not even remotely ever going to get back to that. We're just not. And now, because you have so many local cards in some of these states and some of the commissions, everything's saturated. You can go to Philly, you can go to the 2300 Arena. You can go to North Jersey, you can go to Carteret. You can go up to New York, where Lou DiBella does a great job with Broadway boxing. You can go down the DMV, where they had Keystone, where they had Ponytail, where they had a couple other promoters. Alex Barbosa in Cherry Hill does a great job putting on local cards. He'll be back in the Hard Rock in August. Rodney Rice does a really good job putting on local cards. He does a lot of them in Philadelphia as well, in some of the casinos. But, you guys chiming in saying, when's it going to come back? When's it going to come back? It's delusional. It's not happening. So you just kind of you got to just go past that, period. Right? Q Business Shirts rocking. Boiler Room and Wolf of Wall Street. Joey B. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Boiler Room. That was an underrated movie, by the way. Boiler Room. It really was. But man, they scammed everyone. Did they not? They scammed everyone in that movie. I mean, how are you that? I just don't get it. It reminds me, what was it? Glenn Ross, which was a unbelievable movie, and The Wolf of Wall Street too. But are you that foolish to get scammed like that? Really? Are you that foolish? I don't know. Looks like you and Q were on banker hours this week. Listen, I said on Wednesday's show, I made it perfectly clear to the listening audience that paid attention, madman. I said, quote, we'll be traveling Thursday, back in the saddle on Friday. What do you not get? What do you not get? Scott chimes in, finally brings it back to sports. Thank you. There's enough talent and possible matches that can easily revitalize the sport of boxing, but no one wants to budge or dodge because of money. The purse is the issue. You've got some great fighters. Hold on. You got some great fighters. Period. You got some great fighters. They will spend. The promoters, there's always an argument with the split. And I also think now some fighters, you're right, don't want to fight each other, but that's because of the purse. They can't agree to the purse. And as you mentioned, and I just kind of said it in tongue in cheek when we were talking about it, back then, guys were fighting each other. It's a fact. It's you go back and you YouTube, you Google, some of these fights in the 80s, guys are fighting each other. Duran was fighting Leonard, right? Sanchez was fighting Danny Lopez, right? Dwight Quawie was fighting Dwight Braxton, aka the Camden Buzzsaw, was fighting Evander Holyfield, 87, 88, in the Omni Dome, Atlanta. Guys were fighting guys. They just don't do it anymore. They don't want to. They're so afraid to get tagged with that loss. That's the problem. They're so afraid. Young fighters, 10-0, 11-0, 12-0. I respect the fighter that's 3-0 that fights the guy, or fights another kid that's 3-0 or 4-0, because they know someone's always got to go, right? Someone might lose that fight and might get tagged. They're so afraid to get tagged with their first loss because they're petrified. They're petrified that their promoter is going to drop them. You go to a local card, a 4-6 rounder, the kid fights his guts off and should have won 60-54, and instead, it's a majority decision for the B side, but they both came in with solid records, and the kid suffers his first loss. He's probably walking out there thinking, I'm going to get dropped by my promoter. You got guys right now, you got all these young kids, like Shakur Stevenson. I was calling that kid's fights in the amateur ranks when he was New Jersey Golden Gloves. You saw him cry when he lost to the kid Franco, the Cuban kid in the Olympics. Stevenson is a really good fighter, but you know why people don't like Shakur Stevenson? Because they think he's boring. They think he's boring. They think he's boring as a fighter. But if you follow the sport a little bit, there you go. You got a Jersey product, Newark, New Jersey. And look, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, I'm not forgetting about the ones in this backyard. Okay, I'm not. But what I'm saying is fans want the action. They don't want guys dancing around for 10 or 12 rounds. And sometimes we call it a fan-friendly fighter. And there's far and few in the sport. You want a fan-friendly fighter that's going to, keep eyeballs on the screen. Eyeballs on the screen. We want action. That's what we want. And I'm telling you tonight, watch these fights. You are going to get it, whether you're a fan of female boxing or not. I'm telling you. I was fighting for my life in here the other day, all out attacks by no attacks on me, and I didn't shave, Joey. It didn't crop. What are you talking about? Ben Affleck and Boiler. I cleaned it up. I still got the beard. I got the Carlo Brigante beard. That's ridiculous, by the way, Joey. Utterly ridiculous. These attacks are unwarranted. And, it's funny because I have not seen De Facto Bunker. It's 4:48, and where the hell's De Facto? Because we probably haven't talked NFL. That's, listen, you see what I'm saying? There was no attack. The attacks were by you guys the other day. Period. Ball chimes in. Taking and accepting L's makes the man. Yeah, they do. But you know what? Few do that. And few, by the way, thank you, Ball 360. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. You know what? Some of them don't do that. They don't do it on this show. Some of you guys don't. Thank you, Scott. Hey, it's all about the purse. Young fighters never want to have that L. They don't. Period. They don't want to turn around and, in the amateur, you ask any fighter, he knows his amateur, or they know their amateur record 33-6. I can name you all 6 losses. In the 70s, when the amateurs, when they were fighting, guys were fighting 3 times a day. Now you can't do that. In the 70s, they were fighting 3 times a day in these tournaments. You can't do that now. Are you kidding me? Plus, let's just say you fought 20-something odd times, depending upon the commission. And you're fighting in, you're fighting in Philly, Pennsylvania. And your last fight, you got dropped a couple times, but you won. Your second fight, it goes 10 rounds, but it's a bloodbath. You're going to get suspended by the commission. So now you're going to lose a couple months, period. Especially if you get knocked out. If you also get dropped by your promoter, you're screwed. Half the fights that aren't made because half these kids don't have good people in their corner. That's the problem. They got leeches. They got guys that are trying to, suck them dry. I was calling fights down not only in the Carolinas, but also in Baltimore and in Washington. You see some of these kids come up, they're flying them either out of country or far, maybe across from the West Coast to East Coast. They don't have anyone in their corner. You kind of look at them. They got a lopsided record. They're wearing sneakers. They have no business being in the ring. They're a man on an island, and you give them credit for wanting to be out there, but they have no business being in the ring. They don't have a corner man. They don't have anyone to back them. They don't, period. They don't. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And that's one of the problems with the sport. You see it in boxing. You see it in AAU with basketball. You see these guys, all of a sudden, they want to gravitate towards a young kid. They think he's a cash cow. And then once that kid tears his ACL, bangs up his knee, they drop him. They suck them dry. And now the kid loses his livelihood. I mean, it's the reality, man. You got to see that a mile away. And now, to make matters worse, not to really go down the rabbit hole, but it's something we talked about the other day with Costco. The fight game is pretty simple. It really is. You can easily market yourself and do it the right way. But now it's social media, which is a cesspool. It's social media. It's the weigh-in. It's the presser. It's the, getting in the guy's grill, talking about his girl, talking about his wife, taking shots at him, unwarranted, shoving matches. Why? Because that's the eyeballs. That's the entertainment value. Back in the day, what was Muhammad Ali doing? He's just talking trash, making fun of Frazier. And I remember when I interviewed Joe Frazier, I asked him flat out, God rest his soul, I asked him flat out, did that bother you? Because he would never admit it. And he finally said, yeah, it got to him. It got to him, that talking. Now, that's just two grown men at the height of their careers, perfecting their craft, all-time greats, and all Ali was doing was just yapping. Now in social media, they take it to another level. It's almost as though they goat you into the fact, you better fight me. You better, go on right now, go on X, and hashtag Serrano and Taylor 3 or hashtag boxing. You're going to see it's nonsense. They're fanatical. They're goofy. They're crazy. How they absolutely, some of these people crap on the sport, and how some of the media, and I know you guys joked with me last week talking about Paul, but how some of these media, they are flat out paid by these promoters. They are flat out paid by these promoters. It's like, what the hell fight are you watching here when you're covering it or you're calling it on these networks? It's bad. So we sit there and say, well, no one's watching the sport anymore, period. No one's watching the sport. So it's like, that's not true. Every sport, there's an issue. You flip on any network with any talking head, they're going to push their agenda. They're going to push their own narrative. They're going to push whatever you want them to push. They're going to push what they want to push because it fits their narrative. It fits their agenda. And half the time they're going on and they're saying something that's so outlandish. I didn't even look today, but I guaranteed you all the yappers on the mothership turned around. And what did they start with? Cooper Flagg and Bronny last night. I guarantee it led everything. It led everything. Why? Because you go on social media and you hashtag Cooper Flagg and he's trending and you have to see something. You see the viral video. He gives up a shot. Oh, this guy can't play. He dunks on someone. Oh, this guy can play. It's the same friggin' thing in every sport, and it's more pronounced in the sport of boxing because you got all these guys going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At the end of the day, shut up and just fight each other. Honestly, half the time I see fighters posting videos nonstop, and I'm thinking to myself, when the hell are you training? I don't need to see you handing out food to a homeless person. You don't need to advertise that. You don't. That's great. I commend you. That's wonderful. I don't need to see you jumping rope in the, just go about your business, man. Go about your business, but you got to do it for the clicks. You got to do it for the likes. You got to do it for the, the promo codes, right? Fresh roasted. You got to do it for the promo codes. I mean, social media has ruined so much. It has. If you take what somebody on X says serious, you got issues. You do. 1987 winning. Tank shirt. Is that Jakar? I don't smoke. By the way, I tried cigarettes once in my life. I actually tried a cigarette once, and I believe I had. No, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. No, I tried cigarettes once or twice. I tried to dip once. And I'm telling you right now, I made the mistake. I was dipping and I was trying to just take one for the team. I was showing I was manning up among the boys, trying to become a man. And I swallowed the dip. And then someone said, "Hey, wash it down with this." And that's the last time not good. No bueno. Not to be off topic, best fight in boxing you watch live or covered. Wow. Man, that's a crap. I love every fight, man. I even if it's a 4-round fight, a 6-round fight, you go back and you watch, Hagler, Hearns. Pryor, Arguello, Duran, Leonard, no Mas. I love going back and YouTubing those old fights. I remember the year that Kenny Walker was in the slam dunk contest. It was right around the time I think his mother passed or his father passed. It was the 90 slam dunk contest. And Kenny Skywalker was my guy. I love Kenny Skywalker. And to me, that was, I think his father passed at that time. And he dedicated, it was 89. No, 89 or 90. Anyway, he dedicated the competition to his father. That same, was it 89? Yeah, 89. That same, what was it? Man, you guys are making me date myself right now. It was this right around the same time. That contest was in February of 89 because I have it on VHS tape. I'm going to make my point in a second. But I remember about 4 or 5 months later, almost a year later, actually, HBO was airing the Tyson and Douglas fight. And I remember that my parents went out and my father goes, "Okay, I think the fight's going to be on here. You can watch the fight. You can stay up late." And I remember watching that fight by myself. And I think it might have been on tape delay, to be quite honest with you, when Douglas beat Tyson. And that's kind of the first, I'm not going to say the first time, because I remember Wild World of Sports. I remember, even early on, Mike Tyson, my father, myself, my uncle, my cousins, we all gather around pay-per-view. You see the baddest man on the planet come out with the black socks and the short black trunks. And all of a sudden you sit down, eat your popcorn, and the fight's done in like 13 seconds, 18 seconds. Like, I remember all those Tysons in the heyday. But if you even go back a little, past that, I remember when the Wild World of Sports would have boxing on Saturday afternoon. That was it, man. You had Saturday night fights in the 50s. Then you had boxing from the Motor City in the mid 50s. Then you had Easton Parkway in the 50s. You had Wednesday night fights in the 60s. You had the fight of the night in the early 60s to the mid 60s. And then Wild World of Sports, ABC, the agony, of defeat, took it in 64 and ran with it. And I remember, man, they had some great fights. My father years ago would still talk about Ray Leonard versus Wilfred Benitez back in 79. So, every fight that I call, I love, even if it's a 4-rounder. And as far as like the great ones, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. All sizzle, not one damn steak. That's what it is with these young guys. And the social media is the worst. It is. It's the worst. Q got me amped up right now. Preach, my man. Oh, by the way, and thank you. Great point. I tell my kids nothing you see on that tablet. It's not. It's not. I don't know for the life of me. I don't know why people, 5 o'clock, by the way, 16 of books will take you up to 6. I don't know why, like, you should not allow someone on social media to get under your skin. Like, I don't get it. Like, I never met you. You're like an eggless face. What the hell do I care if you don't like the way I look or sound? But yet some people, it bothers them. They feel like they have to go back and forth and they feed into it. Hell, Kevin Durant's got a burner account. You know, these fighters, and Sarge chimes in, Q, you're 100% correct. I remember you were talking boxing back in the 2000s on 1290 The Ticket during the week. Every week, you were having the biggest names of the sport come on the show. You were a diehard fan then. You're a diehard fan now. Always appreciate that. But to your point, the fight game has changed dramatically. It has. And the other thing is, Man brought this up last week. Do we look at a sport like boxing or the fight game differently now because the influencers had their hand in it? Does it hurt the credibility of the sport? Because, you know, you get the novice that turn around and they say, oh, the fight game is fixed. This is why nobody watches boxing. Like, it annoys me when I hear the fight boxing is dead. It's not dead. It's not. But to Sarge's point, I think what happens is no one's fighting each other. We're always two. Remember back in the day, you want that great American heavyweight. You know, you wanted to go back to 20, 30 years. And you know, now that you've got some good heavyweights out there, middleweights, welters, whatever, we look at who's going to be that next one. And that's it. You know, years ago, everyone, oh, it's Wilder. It's Wilder. Nah, it's Fury. It's Fury. Like, it changes. Oh, look at Ryan Garcia, man. Good looking kid, should be a model. Kid can fight. Oh, Shakur Stevenson, the kid from Newark. Oh, it's Tank Davis. It changes. Oh, it's Boots Ennis in Philadelphia. Great fighter. You know, we're trying to, it's like, yeah, that Hall of Fame quarterback, and right away, the next guy you draft has to be that Hall of Fame quarterback. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. I dipped once. Yeah. Oh, you did in front of the Q Club. Oh, I don't know what did I have? It was something nasty. They were like, wash it down with this. I don't know what it was, but I turned white as a ghost. It wasn't good. It was not. How about this? Joey B. Oh, Bobby C fight in 81? Wow. At an ice rink? Wow. There you go. That's some good knowledge. I can tell you the most money I made on a fight, Mayweather, Gotti, and AC. I used to deliver pizza and worked with a bunch of Italians. Easy money. Gotti and Ward put on some fights. Right? Tuesday night fights. Yep. Sure. Blue Horizon. 100. There you go. Blue Horizon. That's right. Remember too, like, so you had the Blue Horizon. And then if you go back, which was the Blue Horizon was like an old school venue in Philly. And the Ring Magazine actually voted it #1 boxing venue in the world. And Sports Illustrated, I remember SI said it's the last great boxing venue in the country. And I saw a bunch of fights at the Blue. A bunch of fights at the Blue. And Russell Peltz did a great job of putting on fights at the Blue Horizon. I mean, he really did. He promoted a lot of fights. You had Saad Mohammed, Bernard Hopkins, Eugene Cyclone Hart, Timmy Witherspoon, Chandler, Benny Briscoe. And I think, again, they were able to squeeze one more in 2004. And then obviously, 2300 Arena is a very good venue too. Now, you wrestling fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because if you go to 2300 Arena and you go to the men's room, you see all the wrestling stuff that's painted on the walls. So I wanted to, and keep the comments coming. Always appreciate it. 5 o'clock straight up will take you up to 6 on a Friday edition of Middays with Q. Rich Quiñones here. So I wanted to throw this out. We keep the boxing talk going as well. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at this. Little knowledge. Are you kidding me? James Green. My dad brought me and my brother to the fights at night. Wow. That is, you are dating yourself, brother. James Hard Rock Green. Yeah, from Irvington, New Jersey. I think his last fight was either a draw against Lonnie Davis or he got knocked out in the 12th against Otis Grant. I'll let you guys kind of fact check that for me. So I wanted to ask you this question. I was watching this last night, football-wise. I don't know why, but they're replaying a lot of games on the NFL Network, like classic games. So they had the 1993 Dallas Cowboys. They were highlighting it. So the Cowboys go into Giant Stadium, last game of this. It's the Emmett game, if you guys remember, right? The Emmett game where, you'll never forget the day that Emmitt Smith, broke his collarbone and ran for $150 and caught another 5 balls for 46 yards. I mean, the Giants should have friggin' won that game. Their offense stunk that day. Their offense stunk. I mean, Pierce had a 40-yard catch and then fumbled, and that just crushed the momentum. The Giants lost in overtime, 16-13. Eddie Drink and Be Merry with a field goal. And the Giants had to play Minnesota. Dallas got the bye. And then the Giants went to the stick and got blasted 44-3. Ricky Waters, 5 touchdowns. That was Sims and LT's last game as a Giant. But I bring it up because it got me thinking. What was the gutsiest performance you guys have ever seen in sport? It can be in baseball. It can be in the NBA. It can be in hockey. It can be in football. But the gutsiest performance, because to me, that ranks right up there. That ranks right up there because he carried that Dallas Cowboys team. He carried them, and he carried them in that game. I mean, and by the way, go back and watch it, because if you recall a couple days ago, I told you when CBS was airing games growing up or when we were younger, you didn't know what the hell the score was or how much time was left. I counted last night in the fourth quarter, CBS threw a graphic up twice. 11 minutes to go and then under 5 minutes. And as a kid or, a teen, you're sitting there saying, oh my God, where's the clock? But that Emmett game I've got 5. I've got 5 that I've kind of highlighted, but I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on it. The gutsiest sports performance you have ever seen, witnessed. Oh, ball 316 out of the gate. Kerry Strug. By the way, remember too, I don't even think she needed to, she didn't have to participate, correct? On the vault. Wow. Kelly Strug. Oh man, that is an unbelievable pull. Member of the Magnificent Seven. Wow. What year was that? Was that the 96 Olympics? Right? Was that 96? With that final vault? Did she have to, but correct me if I'm wrong, did she have to go out there? Right? Because I recall that someone was like, you don't have to do it. That's a great, you know what? Wow. I mean, how do you top that? Boston 6 chimes in. Q, are you kidding me? 2 words, bloody sock. Yeah, I got that up there too. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, I got the bloody sock. Boston, my Yankees, Curt Schilling, injured ankle. That sock became just visibly bloody, right? He had that medical procedure to stabilize the tendon, the bloody sock game. That alone should get him into the Hall of Fame. Kurt Schilling tears his tendon. He tore his ankle tendon in the ALDS in game 1 against the Angels. So he had that procedure, and it allowed him to pitch in game 6 of the ALCS. So they stabilized the tendon, and they sutured skin around the tendon. I remember he was talking about this. I think it was on either 30 for 30 or something on MLB. Before he got all goofy, he was doing some spot with Costas. And then he had the bloody sock. And now, if you remember, he went 7 strong. He just guts. And they put that sock in the Hall of Fame. So he wins game 6. And of course, game 7. And that just kind of, oh my God, that series. The bloody sock game, man. Unbelievable. Willis Reed. That's right. And here comes Willis Reed. Makes his first 2 shots. And that's all she wrote. If you get a chance, watch When the Garden Was Eden. It's fantastic. Because, again, he couldn't play in game 6. He gets hurt in game 5, right? Just the hip, the tendon, everything just, couldn't go. Hopping along, they didn't know if he was going to play, and they thought he was going to play, but they said it was unlikely that he was going to play. And, the reaction by the Lakers, Wilt and Jerry just kind of watching him come out, that game was over, man. That is an iconic moment. And he knocks down his first 2 shots. And, I don't know if I feel as though Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain had a very, a kind of a different relationship. I don't want to say a different relationship. I don't know. Something like maybe they were just not on the same page, if that makes sense, with certain things, if that makes sense. And I remember that at the time, Jerry West was kind of ticked off because he's like, well, wait a second, get out and guard the guy, like bang him. Don't let him, shoot a shot or 2, get out on him a little bit. So that's a great call. Unknown one, Jack Youngblood. So Jack Youngblood, great quote from Jack Youngblood. And people think it was actually Jack Lambert. It wasn't. So you're referring to 1979. The 1979 Los Angeles Rams, led by, who's their quarterback? Very underrated Rams team that year that beat Dallas in the divisional round and then upset Tampa Bay. So they had Pat Hayden and they had the young Vince Ferragamo. Youngblood basically breaks his leg and they just taped it up. He broke his leg against Tampa. The guy, or against Dallas, I believe. The guy couldn't even play, and he plays against Tampa, and then he plays in the Super Bowl. And, to the Rams' credit, they gave the Steelers a little bit of a scare. They were leading the Steelers in that game 13-10, if you remember. Well, I wanted to, but again, that's Steelers were favored by 10 points. But Youngblood, that's an outstanding. And I guess they asked him something prior to, and he's like, yeah, man, just give me a 6-pack and an aspirin and let me go out there. What about Byron Leftwich? That was when he was in college, right? And they had to pick him up and carry him. Yep. I remember that. Still throws me off. The MSG is the Mecca, and they never get the biggest superstars in the NBA. I can't really. Well, the biggest stars in the NBA usually have big moments against the Knicks, whether it's Kobe, whether it's Jordan. When Jordan returned and his second game back was against the Knicks. This is vintage Jordan. This is why he just terrorized the Knicks. He had 55. That was a double nickel game. But the last possession, they had ISO on him. So what does he do? He dribbles. It looks like he's going to put up the shot, and he finds Bill Wellington right under the basket with the assist to win the game. So typically, the all-time great ones flourish at MSG. It is the Mecca. It is. It is. Dieter Brock. I want to need a little context to that one. From the CFL? Wait, Brock was 85. Where are we going with this one? Haha, Scott, take it easy. Q is back down to Wusa mode. Yeah, double nickel. Do I have to Google Dieter Brock? Sounds like a made-up name. CFL. What do we got here? He is best remembered as the quarterback of the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let's see. What do we got? Let's winky this guy for a second while we have a moment. Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Rams. How about that Stafford game? Remember when Stafford had the banged up shoulder? Dan is a big Lions fan, chimed in. I couldn't even throw, but then he did throw. Emmett, obviously, we talked about that. I'm trying to think who else. A lot of people are saying the Emmett game. A lot of people are saying bloody sock. Oh, here you go. In the 80s. No, that's preseason. Who else? Rams quarterback in 85. All right, let's see here. Suffered a injury to his left knee. Oh, here we go. His only season playing in the NFL, signed with the Rams as a 34-year-old rookie. Despite the team starting running back Eric Dickerson holding out the first two games of a contract dispute, Brock led them to a 7-0 start. Dieter Brock. The name still, I mean, he's legit. Don't get me wrong, but it sounds made up. Almost like, what's his name? What the hell is his name? Dirk Diggler. No, he separated that shoulder in the Giants. Separated the shoulder against the Giants in 93. What are you talking about? Is that the Alvin Harper year, right? Was that the slant play? Alvin Harper, 93? I think it was, wasn't it? He had the slant, right? The NFC Championship game. He went 70 yards. That Cowboys team was so good, man. They were so. That's a dynasty, by the way. That is a dynasty. B sock 16 Q bloody sock. Enough. Yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys think the bloody sock. Hogan's performance against The Rock in Canada WrestleMania finished the match with broken ribs. Huh. And who threw Harper that pass? Pretty sure it was Bernie. The slant? It was Aikman, right? That was late in the game. Did Aikman get knocked out in the 93 title game? 93 championship game? I know it was a slant. It went 70 yards. I know that. They were so good. I mean, the 49ers, I think they came back late. They were down 14 or 17. They came back. Rice scored. They brought it to 10. And then you had the slant. And then who was the kid that had the last touchdown? That's when the Cowboys absolutely waxed the Eagles like 35-10. They destroyed them. And the Bills just got past. Well, actually, no. The Bills blew out the Dolphins. The Bills didn't have any problems with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they beat the Chargers. They might have shut them out. They came back. They beat the Dolphins by like 20, 25 points. But that slant game, did Aikman get knocked out of that game? No, he threw for 322, 2 touchdowns. Kelvin Martin. There you go. Let me see. Rice's touchdown cut it to 24-20 with 4:22 left in the game on the first play after ensuing kickoff. Aikman threw a 14-yard pass to Harper, who ended up running for a 70-yard gain. Wow. Kelvin Martin. Wow. Remember where he went? BC. Separated shoulder for Emmett was a play. It was not a playoff game. What are you talking about? It wasn't. It was the regular season friggin' finale. You're going to tell me that the separated shoulder game for Emmett was a playoff game? It was 93 to close out the season because the Giants choked against the Cardinals the week before. Both teams came in with 11 wins. It was pretty simple. Pretty simple. If the Dallas Cowboys win that game, they get the bye and they win the NFC East. If the Giants win the NFC East and get the bye. The Giants needed the game. The game was going into overtime. That's why Summer on Madden kept saying, hey, if you're the Cowboys and Emmett's banged up, you don't really need this game. You can have a tie. Don't tell me my business, madman. It was a regular season finale at Giants Stadium. It went into overtime, and Eddie Drink and Be Merry Murray kicked a field goal to win it 16-13. Tell me my business with Emmitt Smith separating his shoulder. Then Donovan McNabb play with a broken ankle. Yes, he threw 3 touchdown passes or 4 touchdown against Arizona, correct? It was week 18. It was America's game. Okay, we got what? What is that? This is just, we got him. Bernie to Harper, 43 yards. You guys are all over the friggin' place. What the frig? You guys are absolutely all over the place today. All over the place. Aikman to Harper, slant. I'm not talking about down the sideline. I'm not talking about that. Come on, ball. Stay with me. Stay with me. Come on. You guys are killing me. Killing me, Jerry. You're absolutely killing me. It was 1993. Should have won. They should have won that game. They should have. They really should have. I can't believe none of you guys came up with any hockey performances. You know, guys getting their teeth knocked out all over the place and yet still performing. So we have Emmett, we have McNabb, we have Strug, we have Willis Reed. Oh, how about the MJ? Now, was the MJ flu game, do we put that in gutsiest sports performance ever? Or are we talking about overcoming an injury? Right? The flu game when everyone knows he was hungover. But, I mean, do we say the flu game? Do we put that? How about, aha. How about this one? Kevin brings up, how about LT single-handedly wrecking the Saints Sunday Night Football with one arm? Yes. Yes. Yeah, he did. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He was hungover. The Lawrence Taylor game, that was 88 against the Saints, I believe. That was a huge win for the Giants. And Lawrence Taylor basically separated his shoulder too. But gutsiest sports performance in NFL history, you can go with, I mean, Stafford has to be up there. Romo broke his ribs, did he not? And still played. Emmett has to be Youngblood and Emmett and McNabb. You're right. McNabb playing on that broken ankle. We're not counting him throw up, but definitely playing on that. Madman, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up. You love Phillip Rivers. Didn't he play the AFC title game on a torn ACL? Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he? I can't believe you guys didn't bring up Owens. Q icon, Gibson World. And there it is. We have it. I think we have the winner. I think the flu games counts. All right. Kurt Gibson. I think that's it. I think the Gibson, because of now this is a good one. There's a difference between regular season finale for division. Obviously, helping your, Olympic team win gold. I get it. But, separated shoulder, ribs, regular season, Willis Reed, we'll put that up there. But Gibson wasn't even supposed to play. I mean, he was not supposed to even play. I mean, that call to this day, that at bat is legendary because Lasorda went with his gut. He just went with his gut, and he loved Kirk Gibson. Gibson, you're talking about, a veteran at that time, 84 MVP with Detroit, comes over, no nonsense. We're going to do it this way. This is how we're going to win. Game one, this guy injured both his legs in the NLCS. And to this day, the Mets should have won that friggin' series, but Greg Jeffries had so many errors. Don't even get me started. I'm not even a Mets fan, but just saying. The Dodgers, I had a root for them that year because you had the Bulldog, you had Hershiser. Nobody liked the A's. They just didn't. Nobody, the Bash brothers, and it's just the steroids in Oakland, not having it. If you watch that game in its entirety, the up and down, people forget that game was just so improbable. It was Jose Canseco hit a grand slam. That game was so. Gibson was watching the game in the clubhouse, getting stretched, doing therapy. And Vince Scully, the great, the camera lens catches a glimpse of Gibson in the dugout. Just a glimpse, a speck. Okay. And it's like a raw feed. And then the live broadcast, when they come back, when they go to the dugout, the great Vince Scully turns around and goes, "Nowhere to be found," right? In that iconic voice. And then Gibson goes around and pretty much tells Tommy Lasorda, "Hey, man, I want to at bat. I want to get up there to pitch hit." And he went down and he golfed that. That you watch that play over and who does he hit it off of? Eckersley. You got a 1-run lead. You got a Hall of Famer up there. And then, boom, you got a guy that had 45, 46, 47 saves during the regular season. And, it's a Cinderella at bat. And what's so underrated about that at bat, and again, people, man, I'll tell you, people forget that whole sequence, that whole series. So Eckersley got Mike Scioscia to pop out the short. Then he struck out. Oh my God. I think he struck out. He didn't strike out Mike Davis. I'm going to get to that, but I forget who he struck out. But then you go to Mike Davis, who was a former A. He got on base, and the next batter due was the pitcher spot. So think about it. Now all of a sudden we're gonna fill that. So the A's, they realize, okay, Gibson's going to be available. So now let's go and I remember this because the 30 for 30 and MLB, they did a fantastic job. So you got Dave Anderson on deck, and you got Davis right there. And the A's catcher at the time was Ron Hasse. He got Dennis Eckersley's attention, and he's like, okay, Anderson's on deck. And then they pitched around Davis because they thought that Anderson was going to be the next batter, but they got fooled on that one. They got fooled. He's on base and Gibson comes up and the rest is history. It's just, that's a great call. That's beyond iconic. You talk about a Cinderella moment. That is Cinderella, right? Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medal, wrestling with a broken neck. Ooh. Ronnie Lott losing a finger, then still playing. Pierre Paul lost fingers, did he not? Ronnie Lott, I guess I'll give him that. Kirk Gibson. Yep. Really? Do I even have to bring this comment up? TD for Broncos with a migraine in the Super Bowl. Eckersley was unstoppable that year. Yeah, that team was how about this? Going with the Bulldog, South Jersey product, Burlington County, Camden County, Cherry Hill Zone, Oral Hershiser. He was a fantastic pitcher. Eckersley was unhittable. He was. But what happens, man? You had that one moment, that brief moment, and that that ultimately it did kind of change the complexion of those franchises. I mean, you really have to put it in perspective because that Dodgers team, they beat the Mets in 7 games, and the Mets should have won that World Series. I'm sorry, they should have won that NLCS. They should have. They were the better team than the Dodgers that year. They just were. The Mets won 100 games. They were just stacked. But you had some magic with the Dodgers throughout that postseason. And if you recall, it was different the way the playoffs were constructed. So here's a team in the Dodgers. They won 94 games. They beat the Mets in 7. That game one, for all intents and purposes, it ended the World Series. It really did. Because the Dodgers win in dramatic fashion. Then they win game 2. They blank Oakland. Oakland comes back. They win a tight game 2-1. The Dodgers win game 4, anticlimactic in game 5. But for all intents and purposes, the A's, they were not going to recover. But that team was so good. How in the world did that team only wind up? This is so perplexing. It really is. They come back the next year and they just run roughshod. They win 99, 100 games again. They beat Toronto. That was upstart Toronto, but not there just yet. The World Series, you remember the San Francisco earthquake, they swept the Giants. They come back in 90, again in 90, and they win 103 games. And they take on a Reds team that won 91. And that Reds team, I believe I know they had a couple guys go down. I think they lost Eric Davis for that World Series. They lost some players, and yet the Reds swept them. How the hell in the world did the A's only win one World Series in that span? It's beyond me. They should have won multiple World Series. That's why that game 1, 1988, even though they came back and they beat the Giants the next year, and the Giants were just so, the Giants were just so, they were trying to punch above their weight class. But that A's team, stacked. That team was stacked. I mean, you go up and down that lineup. That team had 4, 5, 6 guys: McGuire, Henderson, Dave Henderson, Canseco, Harold Baines, Willie Randolph, Steinbach. They were loaded. They were loaded. Not to mention the depth, the bench, not to mention their pitching stats. And you only win one World Series? Very disappointing. Very, 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 very. Gibson home run in extras in 88. Yep. I don't know the game. Now he killed. He was Mr. Clutch that year. I mean, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. He was absolutely. He came in and he was a pro's pro, and that's all you can ask for. He came in with that track record and that pedigree, and that's all you want. And I think it was game 3 or game 4 in extras that he had the big home run. That was a brutal series if you're a Mets fan. That was an absolutely brutal series. But, a player can change the course of a franchise. A player, in basketball, we sit there and we say, okay, give me one, right? But in baseball, man, you get the right guy that comes in with the right pedigree and the right attitude. Jose Rio. Oh, my God, the Nasty Boys. Rob Dibble, right? Charlton. Parker. Dave Parker was a big time bat. Sorry, late. Had to get my free Slurpee. What did I miss? I'm gonna leave that comment alone. I'll let you guys take it on from there. All right, 5:35. Gutsiest Sports Performance has got a lot of messages coming in. I think Gibson is right there. So we got Bloody Sock, we got Kurt Schilling, we got Willis Reed, we got McNabb on the busted ankle, right? The broken ankle. You got Gibson. You guys mentioned some of the Olympic stuff. Not too much on the NHL and the hockey. The flu game. What was the game with Pierce when they had to wheel him out? What game was that? I mean, we're going to go to comment right now. Ball 316. We're going to take a timeout. Quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side.
The blast got the drinks pouring. Take a risk like it's a short thing. Going in, yeah, I'm going all in. Get it cool out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in the cold. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in the cold. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in.
This is what the Down Beach Seafood Fest is all about. It's about community, it's about friends, it's about culture, right? The food culture in Atlantic County is rich.
Hidden in an abandoned campground in South Jersey lies a mystical encounter with brews and spirits, where bonfires burn, shadows dance, and flavor favors the bold. Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, grown-ups, it's time to reclaim Halloween. This is Witchcraft, October 10th and 11th. For tickets and information, visit witchcraftnj.com.
All right, 540. Oh, how about this? We got Steeler Nation chiming in. Q, you forgot about my guy, Rod Woodson, returning early from a torn ACL. That's not a bad one. You know, boxing-wise, you remember now, this was 2008. And I think this is fair to throw in there. And I know people are going to be like, no, you can't throw that in there. Well, just kind of hear me out. There have been some like really big time wars when we're talking about, you know, the fight game. And I bet you this will get the attention of one person or two people who I know listen in religiously. But how about when Cotto fought Antonio Margarito? I mean, he got pounded. He got pounded in a fight. He lost a fight in the 11th, but he took a beating. He took an absolute beating. C-SPAN chimes in. Q, what about McHale and his broken foot? Oh, that was what? 86, 87 playoffs, right? Against the Chicago Bulls. That's not a bad one. Oh, here you go. We got another one. First Lady says, Kerry Strug, hands down, Q, injured ankle. Oh, and she even gave me the stats. 9.712 score on the vault. There we go. Kurt Schilling again. We got the bloody sock. Got a couple things for T.O. Got a couple things for Davis and the migraine. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I got one for you guys. I cannot believe we didn't come up with this. Hold on. The only hockey one that was big was Bobby Bowen way back in the day, Game 6 in OT. Stanley Cup. Final. What year? What year are we talking? What year are we going, Scotty boy? What year? What year are we going? How about this one? 1988, Game 6, Isaiah Thomas, twists his ankle, scores 25 in the quarter, finished with 43, 8, and 6. Byron Leftwich, thank you. So O chimes in. Leftwich Q was back in 2002, Marshall versus Akron. He threw for over 300 yards. All right. You guys get on me, but this is what happens. This is why I love my listening audience. You tweet this right at me. Bobby Bond's broken ankle, 1964. Good pull, Scott. Stanley Cup Finals, Game 6. Now, everyone's talking about Michael Jordan and his flu game, but what about Walter Payton when he ran for 275 yards? Let me see. Mel says Gibby, easy. Who's a Cowboys fan, says without a doubt Emmett. You guys are pretty good with this. Jarrett says Rivers torn ACL. Bunker Boy. McNabb's broken leg. Was that 2002? It was raining pretty bad that day, was it not? Do we count Kobe Bryant when he tore his ACL? Do we count that? And he went to free throw. I'm going to say that Willis Reed, if we were to, do like a straw poll, I think Willis Reed would stand alone, because you're talking, a game 7 of the NBA Finals. Jared chimes in again. Chargers fan. Q, you forgot about Kellen Winslow. Oh, in the humidity, 1982 AFC divisional round. He was blocking field goals, catching balls. I think he had like $175, a touchdown. That's not bad. That's actually very good. I think Willis Reed, Madman, not bad with the Ronnie Lott. That's, that's fair. Jordan in a flu game probably grows. Let me ask you guys a question. Do we equate no, no. Are you really comparing Ronnie Lott losing a finger, still playing in this? No, I forgot about the same game and India blowing off his fingers with fireworks. No, I don't. Ace Bailey argued debut for Utah. I'm sorry, Michael. Man is just I watched Cotto Margarito game 1 and Taj made me sick how that fight turned out. Yeah, loaded gloves. I thought the point of this to moments we witness. No, it can be anything. If you witness him, that's great. I have no problem. I have no problem with that. I was going to ask you. I know Kobe. I put Kobe. I saw that too. Najee Harris. Do we put gutsiest performance? Do we just think injury? Or can we talk like, what if there's like an emotional component? Like, what about, oh man, I think that's apples and oranges. I don't know if I want to go that route. Some of you guys are getting on me with the Ronnie Lott. I was not comparing Ronnie Lott to JPP. Man, I apologize. I know you're a 49ers guy. Ronnie Lott was as tough as they come. He was as tough as they come. Was that against the Cowboys? Right? Now, what do we got here? The doorbell? Uh-oh. I don't know what that was. Tiger Woods 2008 or 2019. Yeah, and by the way, that's what I was going to ask you guys. When Favre's father passed, right? He threw for 399 Monday Night Football against the Raiders. You're talking a day or so. That's gutsy, right? Playing with that emotion. I think that accounts for something. I definitely think you put that up there in the pantheon. And remember, some of those passes, Favre-esque, had no business throwing those passes. It was funny when they were doing the game last night, 93, and they were doing the cut-ins, and they had the Packers against the Lions. It said Favre 4 interceptions, and I was kind of chuckling. Some things never really change. But, yeah, I think you can count that in there. Anytime there's a human element involved, why not? Do you guys hear the ringing that I hear? Because I know Monday Night Football. Yeah, look at that.
For the love of God.
Look at this, the incredible shrinking.
You know, I went down the other studio to AC 101 Can't Hear Me FM, and they tell me, my studio.
Look at this.
I've been waiting since 5:10. Watch you go through a commercial break.
My goodness. Wait, when did you jump on?
5:10. I even sent you a friggin' text a couple minutes ago.
Oh my God, that's horrible. Wow. What? Yeah, I apologize. The incredible Shrinker Hermano, Angel Martinez, CEO, and the guy that makes it happen, 1029 FM, the game. You know what? That's horrible by me. Well, I got you for 15. That's okay. But wow, you know what I do? I turn the phone off so I'm not interrupted.
Yeah, you ever look down in your green room just to see if someone's just hanging out there?
What's that?
You ever look down in your green room just to see if someone's there?
I'm look at that. I mean, we're locked in today. Look at the comments. Look
I
at
see that.
We're locked in, man. I'm sorry if I would have known, and by the way, because you have access to my platform and EVMux, you just friggin' fire yourself off.
That's right. That's
Your
what I do.
pizza is at the door. Wait, so you're ringing a bell?
Yes.
Yeah, don't do it again. You know why? Because you know what happens when you did it.
What's that?
Take a guess. Take a guess who perked up.
Man, oh, I forgot.
Exactly.
Yes, she probably would.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
man.
talking gutsiest sports performances. Now, you're not going to watch the fights tonight, are you, on Netflix? All the female cards.
Santiago?
What's that?
Santiago on Netflix?
No, Serrano.
Serrano. All right, that was close. They were all.
Welcome back, Angel. Pickens Pickett.
It was one of them.
Where's Madman? Oh, yeah, that's Santiago. She's a hell of a fighter.
What do you want me to tell you? I've been a little busy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'll tell you what. That Carl Pickett, man.
See, no one would have remembered, but now you say it, and now they're all going to remember.
No. We remember. I can't believe you've been on since 5. That's horrible. Oh, and you even said, hold on a second. You sent me the screen.
I'm waiting, but man, I could have stayed over there at AC 101.
Listen, I apologize. How hot? What's the temp today?
104.
No, it's not.
Of course it is. It's 95 and the heat index at 104.
Hold on. I got to call BS. I'm seeing 91 and a chance of precipitation.
Yeah, well, that chance of precipitation has been gone a long time ago.
Wow. I mean, and you were out doing yeoman-like work outside.
Sure was the last 4 days.
Oh, that's brutal. That's absolutely 104. I mean, you're going to be like shrinking even more.
It's okay.
You have to stay hydrated. We were talking the NFL too, and I know Lloyd does the show obviously on Monday night. So I can't believe you came on at 5:10. That's horrible. Well, at least we know now you're going to be joining me. It doesn't matter. It's July, so I got some guys chiming in, and they want to know right now: are you giving up on the Eagles season in July?
Listen, I went through this last week on Pete Show. Listen, Nick Sirianni cannot, whatever he does, make sure this team gets hung up like 2018. It can't.
Angel,
what?
He just won a Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. That's cute. Yeah, that was a couple months ago.
It does not matter. He's allowed to have a down season if they heard the doorbell. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, Jim Abbott, of course, pitch through a no hitter. right? With one arm. That's too funny. So if they make the playoffs, win the division, but get bounced in the divisional round, are you going to call for Sirianni's head?
No,
Okay.
because at least they made the playoffs. So I'll let them slide there. But you're talking about if we start off again, whether it be in 04, 06, no, you can't, because that means you're still hung. I'm happy they haven't gotten their rings yet, so they can remain focused upon this year. Okay, I don't care if they get them.
Oh my God, you're horrible. Horrible. You can't even enjoy what they were able to do last season. And they waxed Kansas City in the Super Bowl, and you sat there probably hanging out friggin' with all the other, rats at Tampa Joe's,
That's
just
right.
living it up. And now all of a sudden you're sitting here on July 11th, and you're almost balking at the fact if they don't make the playoffs, you're gonna bemoan the head coach. Unacceptable.
Okay, well, he's got his bodyguard, the big dummy. He's got him. He can protect him. I'm not worried about it. Listen, that was, as I always say, you celebrate right all the way up until the end of that week. Go through your tours on TV and everything else. After that, no, there's no excuse. It's time to get back to business. Period.
Now, I mentioned this when the Panthers won again. Is Florida now considered a hockey town?
Yes. 4 out of 5 Stanley Cup champions here out of Florida. Yeah, you have to. No matter which way you look at it. If you got Sam Bennett, who didn't want to go anywhere else but stay in Florida and gets an 8-year deal, yeah. And you also get Brad Marchand for another season.
Was it vibing down there when they won?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was. And it's because you got to remember, too, I mean, Lightning fans now, I mean, you're talking about, if you're keeping it local, Flyers, Devils, hatred, rivalry, right?
Yep.
Same way with the Rangers. Flyers, Rangers.
Sure.
You look at it the same exact way, because when you have Panther fans, they'll make, and it's not like they're going way out of the way. You're talking about 4.5 hour trip down from the Miami, from Sunrise up to Tampa, and they're showing up in numbers. Yeah, because they're basically giving the business to Tampa as Tampa did to Florida a couple seasons ago. And so you look at it, you have to. No matter this coach they have, their head coach, no nonsense, gets the job done, even gave away the farm. Because you know that once you win a Stanley Cup, NBA championship, Super Bowl especially, everybody goes away. Now it's time to go, because your salary cap is at a certain point. Somehow or another, this man was able to do so, plagued with injuries, and still won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Interesting. Mike on Facebook chimes in, Q, love the boxing talk in the 4 o'clock hour. I know you mentioned Atlantic City. And by the way, on this date, 2009, Arturo Gatti passed away. Yes, that's correct. July 11, 2009. Yeah, we were talking with the fights. And just tonight, you got the Netflix, Jake Paul, MVP Promotions. It's an all-female card. You got wall-to-wall belts on the line, so it should be very, very, very interesting. I know that Miami stinks. The Marlins stink. The Rays are kind of going through it. The Dolphins, they got some questions with their head coach and their quarterback. And then, in your neck of the woods, Tampa Bay should win that division by default. I feel as though, is there buzz? I know we got a couple minutes left, but is there buzz right now for the Bucks and the Dolphins?
No.
Any type of buzz?
Nothing. Because you got to remember, Mike McDaniels shouldn't even be a head coach, in all honesty. He really shouldn't. But the Dolphins, for some reason, keep believing in him. And you listen to his press conferences, there's nothing impressive about it. I mean, he talks about how much he doesn't really want to be there. Alex Cora wanted to step away from the Red Sox. And you got this numbnut down there, this dum-dum over there in Miami. It's the same way. Like, he's like somewhere in, matter of fact, him and Aaron Rodgers should just ride off in the same balloon. Same one. Because they're basically both worthless. Any Steelers fans, I hate to break the news to you, you guys are going to make the playoffs. I'm just telling you right now.
Oh no, I mean they're not. I kind of already said it. I think it's going to be a very long and down season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's going to be a long season for the Jets. I think Miami's going to have some issues. Tampa should be all right because of the division. Giants are going to have a very long season. I saw the Bears actually. We were talking about Lloyd and I were talking about the Bears, and they turned around, and a little surprising, but they extended their GM through 2029. I mean, there's some good buzz with Chicago, and before you know it, we will be talking some NFL. I can't believe you jumped on at 5:10 and I just saw it. I know I got to start wrapping it up with the last break. But are you bringing back Mac Martinez and company will be on your network, or you're just still kind of?
No, it's coming back.
All right.
It is coming back. And along with other stuff, but yes, it is. It's coming back.
That's so funny. You just literally, because I give you access as a collab, you just jump in there and then you turn around, you're ringing the bell. You know, I got the dog trying to keep her calm, and you just constantly ring the bell. She peeks up, and all of a sudden you're here at 5:10, and I get you on at 5:46.
It's okay.
But hold on a second. See, Mondays are typically, as you know, the listeners already know, our Monday is a Lunes Manolo Mentiroso Man Up Monday.
Correct.
Our Fridays are What the Frig Friday. Now, I don't like, a What the Frig. Maybe we should do a What the Frig Martinez Friday. I mean, if that's the best day for you, at least I'll know ahead of time. I don't know. We got John Bueller in the 5 o'clock hour. We got Costco on high school sports in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll try to fit you in, work around the schedule, but then I'm going to have to tag the segment. And I can't do a Martinez, Lunes, Manolo, Mentiroso Man Up. I just can't. Doing Teniendas. I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, just add another M. That's all.
I can't, but that's too many.
That's okay.
That's absolutely unbelievable. What do we got here? Self-employed. See, this is what I'm saying. I mean,
hey, where's the joke of the week? I'm waiting for the joke of the week before you go to break.
No, absolutely not. See, this is what I don't need you to come on and start feeding the masses, poking the bear. He tried to come on with a joke, and then I could not read the punch today on the air. I can't.
I know.
I'm being watched.
He can send it to me, though. That's all right.
Well, we will definitely, as always, follow. Hold on a second. See what I'm saying? You have to. I can't punch it up. I got paid sponsorship and advertisers, and you're asking this guy for the joke of the day. That's unbelievable. And we know exactly the direction where his mind is at.
And that's it. So you know.
I can't. I mean, I don't. 2 hours of the nonsense. I mean, it was for an hour and 46 minutes. It was almost calm, and then you come on and the chaos. I can't even read off some of the tweets and the Facebook messages.
It's okay.
I can't. Now you got the man coming. Now the man's going to get ticked off. We don't read the comment. He's going to think we're doing the same. We're discriminating against him like we did with, the bunker boys and Trevor. And you did that last football season. I didn't. See, here we go. Here we go. All right. I can't. All right. So what day works? Do we have to add another M in Mondays?
See.
So all right. Claro que sí. So it will now be no, we're not ringing the bell either. Do you guys not get it? The dog is quiet right now. Just stop. So we will have to add a Martinez, Manolo, Lunes, Mendioso stand up Monday on Middays with Q. All right. I have a tight. This is different now. We got a tight window. I got to start telling everyone.
De facto, don't believe it. Don't believe it. That wasn't me. I'm putting it out there right now. That was not me.
All right. Don't worry. Follow along. Trix57 on Facebook, IG, and X. Rich Q on Q. IG, Rich Q. On the mic on TikTok. I refuse to go through these last comments, and that's pretty much it. The truth is finally revealed. I knew it. Man, I'm not even going to go there. All right, Angel, you have I appreciate you popping on.
Joey B.
Yeah, Joe. You know what? I got a hard out at 6 o'clock. All right. Angel, always appreciate it. Gracias por tu tiempo, mi hermano. He'll be back with me on Monday. Everyone have a wonderful Sports Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We will be back in the saddle on Monday for a Monday edition of Middays with Q right here on Trix57, Trix57.com.